The White Dudes for Harris was everything I thought it would be and more. And more. Some of the arguments that these people were making were so farcical, not even I would have predicted them. Had I written some of these arguments down in a Hollywood screenplay, turned it into some Hollywood producer, he would have said, Michael, it's too on the nose. You got to make it a little bit more subtle than that. Here is Pete Buttigieg explaining why men need to support someone like Harris, specifically because of her stance on abortion.
I'm so glad she has made freedom the theme of her campaign, because I think in so many ways that's what's at stake. And yes, women's freedom is Exhibit A after Donald Trump demolished the right to choose. But of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care.
Actually, forget about the women. Men are way more free when women can kill their babies. You see, because the men can then have promiscuous and unaccountable sex with those women. That's right. The men can go out and just use the women for their own sexual gratification, and then they can pressure them to murder the babies that are sometimes conceived so that the men can go out and use and abuse even more women. Isn't that great, guys? Put another nickel in the Pete is not gay conspiracy theory jar. I've always taken Pete at his word that he is a homosexual. However, I have some friends, including a homosexual friend of mine, Spencer Clavin, who has said for a long time that Pete Buttigieg is not really gay. That's his favorite conspiracy theory. And I said, I don't know, man, I don't know. And he said, no, I'm telling you, and his argument was that Pete Buttigieg, I've met many people like this, he's a real striver. He was a Harvard guy, real ambitious. I mean, for goodness sakes, the guy went from being mayor of some town in Indiana to being the transportation secretary pretty much based on nothing. He decided he was going to be mayor of a small town and then just run for president. And he actually did pretty well. So he's a real striver, he's real ambitious, and but he has this problem, which is he's a straight white guy. Again, I'm not saying he's a straight white guy. I'm saying this is the conspiracy theory. He's a straight white guy. So he's got this problem, right? He's over there at Harvard. He says, shoot, man, I'm not going to rise very far in liberal politics if I'm the most evil type of person in the world, a straight white guy. So I need something. I need some struggle. And I know a white guy who's married to a woman who identifies as queer. In fact, I know multiple straight white guys who call themselves non-heterosexual or non-straight or whatever. So I am taking Pete Buttigieg at his word that he has same-sex attraction. However, if this is his best argument for Harris, hey guys, hey bros, we can all go out there and just shtup a bunch of women and then we won't have to do anything about it because there won't be any accountability. Then I don't know, man, that really actually changes my view of Pete Buttigieg for the worse. The other guys were Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. He helped organize it, I guess. Buttigieg, Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina, Adam Schiff, whom Donald Trump calls pencil neck. He's the congressman from California. A bunch of people I've never heard of. David Hogg. That pinnacle of white masculinity, David Hogg, a bunch of other people I've never heard of. Josh Groban, I have heard of him. The dude was there, Jeff Bridges. So, there were a number of people, and they're all embracing their identity as white men. And this is something that the Democrats can do and the Republicans can't do. The Republicans will not appeal to white men. Even though white men are the group most likely to vote Republican, white men are the indispensable group for the Republican political coalition. Republicans refuse to make an overt appeal to white men because they are afraid of Democrats calling them racist and sexist, even though by any even semi-reasonable definition of racism and sexism, the Democrats would fit the bill far more than the Republicans. Doesn't matter. That's just not how it works. A racist is by the definition that the Democrats have set, a Republican. A sexist is by the definition the Democrats have set is a conservative. So they refuse to do it. But Democrats are exhibiting a really keen political insight right here. And the keen political insight is You only get to the universal through the particular. You only win national elections by winning particular states, and you only win particular states by winning particular counties, and you only win particular counties by appealing to particular demographics, and you only appeal to particular demographics by making overt promises and appeals to races, sexes, religions, civic associations, industries, affinity groups, Star Wars fans. You get Mark Hamill to do your White Dudes for Harris. That's how you win national elections. And Republicans don't really seem to get that. We want to jump straight to the universal. So Republicans say we would never host a White Dudes for Harris or White Dudes for Trump event. One, because we are so afraid of the Democrats disingenuously calling us racist. But two, we don't want to appeal to identity politics, We just want to we just say we're Americans for Trump. We're everybody for Trump, everybody for good things. Yeah, of course, we want national unity. We want to work in accord with one another. We want social harmony. We want our politics to advance the common good, of course. But the way that you win elections in a democratic society, this is maybe one of the shortcomings of democratic society, is you have to make overt appeals to particular groups. That's the only way that you're ever going to achieve any kind of universal political power. Democrats are getting it. Democrats openly despise white men. And yet, when election time comes, they're going to assemble those white men together, and they're going to tell the white men why it's in their white man interest to vote for Kamala Harris. So Buttigieg has taken a pretty aggressive role in the Kamala Harris campaign. Buttigieg went on the Fox News show, the Sunday show, so this is ostensibly hostile territory, and he went on there to defend Harris, not in his role in the Biden administration, not in his role as transportation secretary. He went on as a private citizen endorsing Harris.
Joining us, also fresh off the campaign trail, Pete Buttigieg. He's appearing today in his personal capacity, so no disrespect that we aren't using your cabinet title, but you are here as Pete today. Right. Okay, so you've been on the trail.
This is your personal capacity. Now, she's opening up with that. Shannon Bream is making that point off the top, presumably because that's what Pete Buttigieg requested. Ordinarily, if Buttigieg goes on a news show, he's there as the transportation secretary, which says, we have to make clear you're here as a private citizen today, because he's not advancing any work of the White House or the administration or the American people writ large. He's there advancing Pete Buttigieg's personal career interest to support Kamala Harris, perhaps even over the objections of people at the White House. Maybe that's why he's trying to distance himself from his official role here. Because why? Because Pete Buttigieg wants to be Kamala's running mate. That's why. And why would Pete Buttigieg want to be Kamala's running mate? Because whatever you think of Buttigieg, I think the guy is just awful. I think he's really one of the worst people in public life. However, you got to admire the hustle. This is one of the greatest careerists I have ever seen. The guy went from basically having never done anything to being the mayor of a small town to being in a presidential cabinet. That is crazy. That is really, really impressive. And now he wants to leapfrog it again. He's been one of the worst transportation secretaries we've ever had, which is impressive because most people don't even pay attention to the transportation secretary. But we have had historic transportation problems at the national level under Buttigieg's reign. Major train accidents, major airplane problems, major transportation issues. Meanwhile, what is Buttigieg doing about it? He's complaining about the supposedly racist bridges in Long Island. He's not doing anything to fix these problems. So he's failing at a job at which it is almost impossible to fail, and he might be Kamala's running mate. And he might be Kamala's running mate in part because it seems like Gretchen Whitmer doesn't want it. The governor of Michigan seems like Gavin Newsom doesn't want it. And they don't want it because I think that they actually do have some real political seasoning under their belt. I think they're looking ahead to 2028. They're saying, look, maybe Kamala's going to lose this time. I want to keep my powder dry so that I can be a leader of the party next time after 4 years of Trump. Buttigieg, he doesn't really have all that much going on. He's glib and articulate enough on TV. But that's it. He's got to keep this career train going. He is all in for Kamala. That was a great clip. Now hold up, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.